Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. I had a little bit of a scare getting today's session started, because I couldn't get it to load into the post game with soundtrack. But as you can hear, there is soundtrack happening. So yeah, so we're playing as the Ottoman Empire. I think the first thing we're going to do is something I've been saying we're going to do this whole game. And we're going to get working on annexing some of these, some of our subjects that are very close to Europe. So, let's go ahead and get started with that. There is a movement to enact graduated taxation. Do I want that? I would really like proportional. Let me see, graduated is going to make my industrialists very angry. And my local governors. You know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Not for now, at least. It's giving me a lot of radicals, but it's pretty respectable in terms of radicals. And I've got pretty okay government situation. I don't know, it might be worth it. Let me see. We got 2 feminists in charge. Bahadin Pasha is a social democrat, so if I put him in charge, he would help. But that would reduce my my kind of cohesion up here. So, nevertheless, it would be a huge percentage. Let's go ahead and do it. Oh, but the industrialists. As long as the industrialists don't try to prevent it, it shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna try to annex Tripolitania. They will not accept, but it's going to be a short war, hopefully. All right, that's everybody getting mad, but it is what it is. War goal has been added for Tripolitania. We'll go ahead and mobilize. Let me see, Tripolitania has a very small army, actually, so we'll just go ahead and mobilize the 8th Ottoman Army. We'll get them on the border here, and then we'll mobilize the 6th Ottoman Army and put them in this border here. And hopefully that'll be fine, and no one else will mess with us, because I'm really hoping nobody messes with us here. And so far, it's looking good. We have a lot of countries we could potentially sway, including France, but I think they're going to ask for something we don't want. So we'll try to not bring them into this situation. Everything's looking good so far. Britain is good to go. Austria-Hungary is good to go. We'll go ahead and chill here. Okay, we do have a movement to preserve per capita taxation, but our chances are still very, very good. Stall chance is only 8%, advance chance is 22%, and success chance is 68%, so hopefully this will just allow us to get going with this without a problem. Force comparisons are very, very good on the Eastern Front, and pretty solid on the Western. I'm just going to kind of hover the pause button here, just in case we end up needing to play around with this situation. We're still not over 25 infamy, so I'm feeling pretty confident. Typically, if there are going to be changes to this, to the balance of the situation, it'll happen before the halfway mark. So I'm hoping this means we're good to go. Hoping for a success on graduated taxation. If we can get that going, that'll be just fine. Our target state here is Tripoli, so we'll go ahead and designate that as our strategic objective. And that'll be good to go. We're probably going to get Tripolitania incorporated as soon as we get there. So let's go ahead and build ourselves some more government administrations. We've got a few in Hood of Endegar, so we'll put a block there. We can put a block in Kastamonu, and a couple in Western Thrace, just for good measure. That should be enough. Interesting. A situation going on over here. Italy is going after Siam. To conquer Laos, Siam, and Siamese Cambodia. Wait. Hold up. Siamese Cambodia, Siam. Okay, I'd forgotten Italy had already gotten a hold of a bunch of that territory there. Alright, so that is just fine. And this is going off without a hitch. A lot of progressive drafting. Wonderful. 2 arms. We're getting a huge pile of loyalists if we do this. And this is also going to increase our tax revenue significantly. So I'm pretty hopeful about that overall. We got 1 battle happening, and it is already ending in success, so I'm pretty pleased. There's a train going through the front line. I hope that train is safe. Sure wouldn't want to be a train going through a front line myself, TBH. Alright, success over here. Maghreb mass immigration. They're immigrating from the French Empire to Tabriz. Oh, interesting. We're getting Maghrebi people migrating here. And there's the stormtroopers tech. So that is just fine. I'm going to enable the, where are we? It's not in support equipment, not in recon, not in transport, not in medical. Supplies? No. Oh, interesting. These have increased percentages of all the regular supplies. That's interesting. Didn't know that. What does stormtroopers do? Well, I would need to go into military to find that out, wouldn't I? Stormtroopers are just flat bonuses. Extra offense for trench infantry and trench squad and mechanized infantry, and then extra kill rate. Wow, that's really solid. I'm super pleased. That used to be a production method, now it's not. Cool. So that gets Tripolitania perfectly well annexed without a problem. I'm going to set annex to the war goal. It's going to take a little bit of time, another 10 weeks or so, for us to get a hold of, for us to get the country fully occupied here. And then we'll move on to Tunis, if God is willing. Alright, and we're nearly there. And perfect. Propose. Alright, so let's go ahead and incorporate these territories. So, if we try to annex Tunis, that's actually only going to be 4.3. So we can make it. We can get this territory annexed, so let's annex it. It's going to get us pretty close to our limit, but they might accept, and if they accept, they have refused. I'm going to get rid of the 9th Ottoman Army. Tunis has actually a slightly more significant army, so we're going to use the 6th Ottoman Army to go and fight this battle. Not hugely worried overall. What else? So what are other targets? Again, I don't think I'm going to annex Ethiopia. In fact, Gojam is a good target to take over. Zanzibar would be an interesting place to conquer as well. Although, we're neutral. Yeah, I could conquer Zanzibar, but I do have quite a bit of infamy right now, so I could chill and wait on that to go down. In fact, I must. And we're into voting already. Wonderful. I I don't necessarily want to do conquests in Europe, but the temptation is extremely high. If nothing else, I could get Greece back. They're antagonistic towards us. Ah, here we go. So we're getting an event called the First Election. Okay, new parties. The Fascist Party, the Freedom Accord Party, the Islamic Party, the Socialist Workers' Federation. Interesting. And so this is the completion of the call for women's suffrage. The first election. The Ottoman Empire is holding its first election since the voting franchise was extended to women, marking the beginning of a new era in Ottoman democracy. Dropping her vote into the ballot box was, in a way, an anticlimactic moment. Getting there, it felt like a real political struggle. It had been loud, disobedient, sometimes violent. The reward was this quiet, orderly exercise of power. Once again, she was a loyal citizen. Only the expectations had changed. Then again, perhaps this is what power felt like. Perhaps this is what made it insidious. She wondered if this had been how those who had denied her this up until now had felt. For a fleeting moment, she hoped she would not get used to it. Equality is part of our intellectual tradition. Intelligentsia gains the feminist ideology, or a great victory for the suffragists. This just gives a couple of characters, our leading characters, in fact, some, I think those are our leading characters. Yeah, this is Murat Kashin, and this is Sefet Manas. Some popularity bonuses, which would be very good. But I'm going to go with equality as part of our intellectual tradition. We have some situations. We have a conservative party again. Wow, that really changed the distro power. And that might mean we're going to need to make some changes. Once we got graduated taxation passed. You'll notice we have a pretty solidly sized Socialist Workers Federation now. We've got an Islamic Party again. And we got this Fascist Party with the armed forces. I think so part of what's going on here is Kemaleddin is quite old, and his heir aligns with the local governors, and we can't have that for a monarchy. So I think the time may be coming, once we complete the annexation of Tunis, and the passage of graduated taxation, for us to become a republic. There's workplace safety increasing. That's very good. We could definitely use some additional bureaucracy, but we're going to get there when we grab central planning. So let's grab central planning straight away once we've got military aviation, and that'll cover the rest of the distance. I completely forgot we were going to get there. That's why I built those new government admins, but again, it should be fine. France and the United States are going after each other. Interesting. Sorry, the United Sovereign Archduchy. France wants to conquer Liberia and to liberate Florida and North Carolina. The United Sovereign Archduchy, in contrast, wants to conquer Constantine, Algiers, but not Oran. It wants East Sahara and Brittany. Well, goodness. You leave Brittany alone, United Sovereign Archduchy. Wow, everyone's going buck wild. You leave Brittany alone, Emperor James Minot? You Yankee abolitionist, you? It's interesting. They got the Southern planters in government, and they've still got legacy slavery, even though the president is an abolitionist. It's a little wild. It's a wild thing going on. And Italy's got an uprising in Siam to deal with. Right at the same time as their war with the rest of Siam, which is kind of funny. Alright, well, let's get this party started. I am going to also annex Tunis and incorporate it once we've gotten those areas incorporated. And I think these areas are... No, they're still in a 5-year incorporation cycle. So... Our force comparison here is very, very good. We shouldn't have hardly any problems here. And there's graduated taxation. So, if we go to Presidential Republic, the only people who will be salty about that are the local governors. But the Sunni Ulema will be very unhappy. So, who can we get in here who will support that? The industrialists will support it. The intelligentsia will support it. The petit bourgeois will support it, and the trade unions will support it. So, the industrialists... That's not going to work. Maybe the industrialists and... No. It's only the local governors who are not... We're going to be against this situation. Alright, so... We're going to have to, sort ourselves... Situation. Ooh, don't like that event. We're going to have to cut some taxes out of here because we've got to suppress some interest groups. We've got to suppress the Sunni ulema. Where else are we spending? We're doing a greener grasses campaign in Sinai, which we can cut. And then we can cut one additional consumption tax. That really hurts our finances, but it's absolutely necessary. And we're going to give that some time to sort itself out. So, Dahomey revolts, and then something going on in Denmark. I don't know. Oh, Denmark's got a communist uprising. Alright, the Black Shirts. Ethno-nationalist paramilitaries organized by the Fascist Party are using violence and coercion to intimidate voters loyal to rival parties. Violence, coercion, someone has been looking at the dictionary lately, huh? If all we're doing is stating the facts and people have nothing to rebate them, then why should that be called coercion? If I tell you that it won't snow unless it's cold, am I also coercing the weather? Tolerate fascist paramilitaries, this gives them momentum and goofs up everyone else's momentum. We are in an election cycle. I thought the election had just finished. Attempt to enforce voter suppression laws. A little bit of momentum makes the armed forces angry and reduces momentum for everyone else. Or crack down on paramilitary organizations. Reduce momentum for the fascist party by 20%. So, do the fascists want a republic? Do they care? No. They're not, they are going to be happy about it. Why? He's an ethno-nationalist. They don't... Oh, right, because it's the petite bourgeoisie, not the other guys. Okay, alright, so yes, so I do... So what do things look like now? Yeah, Socialist Workers' Federation has a huge share of the electorate. Alright, we're going to crack down on paramilitary organizations. That's going to make the armed forces happy. Even though they're the ones kind of being cracked down on. And it'll reduce... their momentum by 20%, which is what we want. Alright. And we have this option available because we got law enforcement equal to or greater than 3. Crackdown. This will stop tour. Edom Bey intends to travel across Transjordan by train to campaign for the Islamic Party. Campaigning by rail is a smart move, extra momentum, stressed rail network for reduced railway throughput, or it would be a shame if the campaign kept suffering delays, reduced momentum. I'm going to go with the second one. We're going to weaken the Islamic Party. Alright, so in 51 days, we'll have a chance to really see what's going down here. And take our shot at changing up the governance principles. Oh, interesting. So Russia's trying to take a treaty port in Japan and get Sakhalin, which isn't shocking. Japanese shogunate is interesting. The Red Terror abroad. In a recent speech, Raouf Bey has pointed directly to the state of Scotland as an example of what awaits the Ottoman Empire if the fascist party does not come to power. According to him, only he can save the nation from communism. There has been talk among certain circles of a strike, an attempt by the communists to seize power, to transform the Ottoman Empire into a blood-red nightmare. Well, let me remind you of what they want. In Scotland, they've made women into state property. They've burnt priests alive. They've assaulted banks and small businessmen. We shall not allow the communists in the nation to replace us, to rule our affairs. This is the Ottoman Empire, not Scotland. Well, golly gee willikers, this is a lot of scaremongering. The whole nation must unite against the Scottish menace. This gives them 30% momentum. Perhaps he should focus his rhetoric more domestically. This makes the armed forces even stronger. Or this is nothing but scaremongering and nonsense. We do have good relations with Scotland. This will make some of our upper stardom pomps more radical, but it will cost them momentum. And I'm going to do this third one. Because, again, I don't want these fascists gaining power. Socialist Workers Federation is socialist, but they're social democratic, so we might end up putting them in power anyway, just for bare vote count. Austria-Hungary sides with Russia against Japan, but that's not any of our business. Now, this peace deal is going to take a minute, but only a minute. So we'll see how things go after the election. And maybe we'll end up changing up the government. Alright, there's the election. So, and a communist party has formed. So, okay, so, I have no idea what happened here. There was the Socialist Workers' Party for a second. It got 51% of the vote, and then something happened, and it just bled all of its support out to the Agrarian and Freedom and Accord parties. So we're just kind of back where we started. So, anyway, the Industrialists are headed up by a Republican, so let's grab them and put them in power. We'll confirm that, and then we'll get started on going to a presidential republic. And only the Sunni ulema is going to really be a problem with this. And we have a new stamp out journalism monarchy. Stamp out monarchy. Stamp out journalism. We just fought the fascists. I can't stamp out journalism now. I'll look like a hypocrite. We can get rid of this fleet. Move this fleet to another thing. Alright, so we got Tunis conquered, so let's incorporate. Time to incorporate, and now that I'm thinking about it, I should reset production methods in those areas that we just took. So, this is giving us some solid score to play around with. We are at 20.8 infamy, but that's not too bad at all. And Japan would like our assistance against Russia. They offer us a war goal of Aland, here in Aland. Japan, what makes you think I want Aland? Japan, have you been to the Ottoman Empire? It's hot here. It's a very nice, balmy temperature here. Have you ever been to Aland? Aland? There is snow. It is March and there is snow on the ground in Aland. What makes you think I want Aland? I don't want Aland. Get out of here. Jeepers. Aland. Give me somewhere Give me somewhere in the Caucasus. It's cold there, but at least it's close. Aland. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Everyone wants something different here, but alright, we gotta preserve monarchy movement. They're pretty high radicalism, and they're radical. Alright, but they're only at 76% radicalism, so I think we can make this happen. We still have a pretty solid advance chance on this. So yeah, so we'll try to make this happen. And again, the whole goal of this is we're trying not to, we don't want a local governor's guy running the government, because that's going to be a problem. We're doing pretty well on taxation overall right now. So I'm pretty happy with things overall. There's military aviation, and that's going to unlock the ability to produce some tasty... Actually, we got a lot more methods we can employ here. Nitrogen fixation would cost a bunch of oil, but would generate way more fertilizer. I'm going to not worry about that for now, because clearly I haven't paid enough attention to it, and I'm worrying about other things. We can build some war machine industries. So how many battalions have we got? 433. And each war machine industry is going to produce 50 airplanes. So we need to build 9 total levels of war machine industries in order to get what we want to get from a war machine industry's perspective. Let's go ahead and build 5 levels of railways in Ankara to start. Make sure we've got enough infrastructure to play around with. And then we'll get ourselves some war machine industries. We'll get a nice even 10 levels. Technically we only need 9, but it's not a tragedy if we go over it by a little. And then we'll get ourselves some aerial recon once these armies have gotten where they're going. So, our first monarchy event. A monarchy revolutionary event. The street-side standoff. Troops in Albania have reported more and more confrontations with belligerent mobs. Fighting will likely break out soon if nothing is ordered. There's only 2 ways to control the situation. Either pull the troops back or tell them to engage. The soldier shuffled nervously where he stood, shifting the weight of his gun back and forth as he stared at the crowd stirring far too close by. He thought he recognized some of these faces, or would have if they weren't twisted in utter loathing of him and his uniform. What was he even doing? Was he standing with the right people? Order of withdrawal from Albania. This gives state penalties from turmoil an increase, 50% chance of increasing or decreasing civil war progress. Or our men are professionals. They can maintain discipline where they are. This does give us a little bit of mortality, but it gives us a solid chance of reducing civil war progress. I'm going to go with the second one. This is available because we have a professional army. And I basically always do that when we do this. So if this revolution pops off, it's going to be these regions in Iran, and these regions in Egypt, which is a pretty substantial amount of territory. Have we got... Sorry, this has been a while since I played this. We've got defensive pacts with Austria, Hungary, and Scotland right now, as well as Uluru, but that's not really going to help us. So if worst comes to worst, Austria-Hungary will be able to help us. But I've got a pretty substantial amount of force available here. Wow, America just managed to get all of this territory. That's incredible. I was really hoping that that our high level of loyalists would help us be a buffer against this stuff. Particularly because we just changed up the taxation laws, but you know how this goes. Communist revolt in the Mosquito Kingdom. The Waffling Revolutionary. Admiral Koprulu, an associate of the revolutionary Sunni ulema, is known to have some doubts about his convictions. It may be possible to use that hesitancy to the government's advantage. Friends, it's not that I don't want the uprising to happen. I'm concerned about, I'm in a good position. What do I do? We can press the Admiral to support the government. 50% chance of the Sunni ulema get stronger, 50% chance of civil war progress -3, and the Sunni ulema get happier. Or he can't be trusted to arrest him. 50% chance if he dies, 50% chance of he goes on the run, the civil war progress increases. I'm going to go with the first one. We'll see if that goes well for us. It doesn't, but that's okay. Alright. Here's malaria prevention. Excellent. Not that matters a whole lot for us, since most of the areas we would be theoretically colonizing have already been cut off by European imperialists. So we don't need to necessarily worry ourselves about that situation. We also have zeppelins spreading to us, which is fun. Everyone likes a good zeppelin. Oil in the Libyan desert? Wonderful. Yeah, I suppose we can start developing some oil resources in Libya, huh? Well, I guess there was only the one set of them. We sure have got a lot of oil in this country, huh? Has this given us access to more coal? Because coal is something we still need an absolutely ludicrous amount of. Oh. Hold on. Tunisia's having an issue. Tunisia's having an infrastructure shortage. Didn't think about that. Probably should have checked. It's okay. We'll build ourselves some railways. Those are going to take some time. We'll put them at the bottom of the aviation industry. Cool. Alright. Kemaleddin misses cabinet meeting. Sultan Kemaleddin has missed a cabinet meeting of his government, and the cabinet members were unable to come to any conclusions as to how to proceed. How can we expect our citizens to have any faith in the government if our Sultan is not even showing up to cabinet meetings to decide the future of our nation? Apparently he was out partying with other nobles and only just went to bed a few hours before the meeting was scheduled to begin. This is unacceptable behavior for our Sultan. 40% chance of a huge enactment chance bonus, 60% chance of a small enactment chance bonus, or maybe he just accidentally slept in. Solid chance of a medium-sized enactment chance bonus. On average, the top one's better. 40% chance of 40%, 60% chance of 10%. Bottom one is a sure chance of 20%. Let's go with the top one. Yes! Alright, so we're at 70%. That means this situation is almost assuredly not going to matter. Kemaleddin Osmanoglu mistook an enemy in the armed forces. After accusing with false charges, moderates in the armed forces defected to the Sunni ulema's cause. The briefest flash of anger can make an enemy of a friendly face. It can make even the staunchest allies split each other over a misunderstanding. And once it is cast, there's no going back. Their bedfellows may not be so accommodating. This makes the Sunni ulema and the armed forces stronger, maybe. But maybe it makes Enver Pasha weaker. Or Kemaleddin Osmanoglu should stand down. This weakens Kemaleddin Osmanoglu and, by extension, the intelligentsia, because that's his interest group. But it reduces his popularity and slows down the civil war. I'm going to go with the second one. I don't need popularity for Kemaleddin Osmanoglu. He's the monarch. It's not going to matter. Kalati diplomatic play against us. We have a proletarian revolt in Kalat. That's just fine with me. 9th Ottoman Army exists. It doesn't need to. Let's go ahead and put the 8th Ottoman Army on the situation. Kalati Proletarian Revolt only has 13 battalions, so I'm not hugely concerned. So I feel very confident about the Presidential Republic movement right now. But I think most of this is probably going to have to wait until the next episode to truly finish out. Because we're getting to the end of the episode, and it's almost the end of 1937. So I think at the end of 1937 I'm going to put a pin in it. Once again, as long as nobody gets involved in this, I don't really foresee any issues. Oil in Tripoli, heck yes. Let's go ahead and build some oil wells. Valeriano Caserta, exiled from Mexico. The mob approaches. Belligerent crowds have been getting increasingly provocative when confronted by troops in Thessaly. Hardliners in government are demanding tougher responses, while doves are calling for troops to stand down as the first hopeful step in de-escalation. A whiff of grape shot saved the day once, and it can be done again. I'm telling you, we need to show strength right now. Strength? Ha! Bullets are an admission of weakness. We need to talk, to show them we're not afraid. That's how we'll get them. Disperse the crowds by force. 50% chance of radicals. 50% chance of slowing down the Civil War progress, or order the troops to stand down. 50% chance of loyalists, 50% chance of civil war progress upwards. I'm going to take a chance going for some loyalists. No good. Again, this isn't going to matter a whole lot. I need... they're not going to be able to get above 67 progress here, so this isn't a tragedy. We should be able to... They will very... Many of these events will slowly push radicalism up, which can be a problem, and that's kind of why I'm trying to keep radicalism down with my decisions on this. We'll kind of see how things are going. They want workers' protections in Council Republic, and they're creating a lot of radicals doing it, but hopefully I'll be able to get workers' protections in pretty short order. I've already got regulatory bodies. Workers' protections are going to increase minimum wage, which is probably a good thing to have. That's going to really increase the standard of living, I'm hoping. Everyone is neutral in our diplomatic play with the Khalati Proletarian Revolt, so that should be just fine. And that will pop off at the beginning of the next episode. Alright, we'll let it get started while we read the Rebels' Doctor. The Rebels' Doctor. A doctor in Yemen has been caught aiding wounded dissidents and revolutionaries. His aid isn't just helping his patients, but it's emboldening the entire rebel movement. The doctor's defense attorney leaned back, nursing a small headache. The medical man had proven impossible to work with. His attempts at defense had just dug a deeper hole for himself. His waffling was painful, and his refusal to trust his counsel or even his kinfolk had ruined his chances of getting a lighter sentence. There's the war. His persistent denials had served to only make his name mud. Investigate the medical profession in Yemen for sympathizers. Reduces civil war progress by 5% and radicalizes a bunch of academics in Yemen. Or, the doctor was an obvious lone wolf. There's no need to follow up on this. Makes academics all over the Ottoman Empire more radical. I'm just going to radicalize academics in Yemen because the university in Yemen is only level 1, and I got a lot of universities all across the empire. In any case, that is all the time we've got for this episode. I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you all on the other side.